welcome back to Share Your Truth. Today's topic, we will be discussing how to respond to negative things that have been spoken over your life.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Triana.
I'm Takoya.
I'm Raquel.
I'm Mika Mean.
I'm Bridget Marie.
And I'm Candace B. So, I had some pretty, I would say, harsh things said to me by people that's been close to me, like in my family. And it was just like, in the heat of the moment when we're bumping heads and it's just like, you're not going to be nothing or you're going to be just like your dad, which ain't, all that stuff. And it used to hurt, but I used to just like hold it against the person who said it. And it used to just bring up a lot of animosity, resentment towards that person. And I would hold on to it because I wanted to show them that I'm not going to be none of that of what you just said that I was going to be. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I was older, like last year, that somebody told me, like, yo, you have to let that go, what they said. Because, one, I never forgave them for saying that. Mm-hmm. And it was just a huge wedge between me and this person. And this person was in my family, like, super close to me. And this was said when I was young, like elementary school, middle school, and it's something that will be repeatedly said whenever it is an argument. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna amount to nothing. You just like your dad. You this, you that. And now it's just like the person say little things, do little things, and I'm instantly irritated. Mm-hmm. But it's because I've been holding on to those things that they said to me. And like I said, it wasn't until last year somebody was like, you have to let that go. But I was using it as fuel, to push me, to show them. And I'm just learning that it's harder to hold on to it than to just let it go. Mm-hmm. Granted, I'm not going to be none of that, and I'm still going to overcome and be so much more, but it's a different way that I could go about it. It's a different way that I could use it, and I'm still in the process of learning how that is. Right now, I'm just focusing on just trying to let it go. Right. And understand that it was said in the heat of the moment, and try to focus on the positive things that this same person would say when everything is cool. Right. It's just easier to remember those things and be like, okay, I'm going to show this person.
Right.
But it's a process.
That's true.
And for me, I had to learn my own identity, like with that, because from a child, negative words being spewed over me. I say spewed over me because it was more like a yuck type of thing. And the same thing as you, Candace, the person would say positive things, but when they say negative things, it was like egregious, like it was horrible things that they would say about me, about my family tree, about how I'm going to turn out because, I have this person's blood running through me, or my attitude, you're not ever going to have nothing because your attitude is stank, and just stuff like that. And so I had to learn who I am and identify who I am and how I move in those areas where the person was correct, because if you are disrespectful and if you are a negative, nasty person, you're not going to have nothing. Right. So I had to take that in, but I wasn't taking in, because of my bloodline, this is what I'm going to be in, or I'm going to be stuck in poverty because of this, or I'm going to be, I'm not going to amount to anything. I didn't take that, but I took in what they said, and then the stuff that I said, no, this is not my identity, like this is not me. I left that out. But as a child, you don't know how to do that.
Right.
So as a child, I felt like, because this is what you're saying I am, let me put the jacket on. That's me. Right. Yeah. And so I noticed that, especially when I got like 18, 19, I started acting out like, this is what you said I would be. Mm-hmm. So this is how I'm acting. Because you said this is my bloodline, this is cool. Like, this is how we get down. So I had to realize, and then at our church, we do something called encounters. And on the encounter, you go to the mountaintop and you really talk to God. And so during that time, God showed me this is why you felt like this was okay, because you're operating in the jacket of what this person said. And that's not your identity. I'm renewing you, and when that happened, I was like, okay, I don't have to be what that person said, because certain people we say, this person's perception or whatever they say because they're so close to us or because they're our family, like, oh, it must be right. So now when certain people that I feel like, oh, what they say must be right, I have to say, no, they're not God, like, they're not the end all be all. Like, they have flaws as well. So when people get upset, they do say stuff that they know is going to hurt you. And so I have to funnel that through. So for me, I just have to say, like, Raquel, you need to know your own identity. You need to know who you are. So no matter who it is saying whatever to you, you can balance it and say, okay, nah, that was just said in the heat of the moment. Okay, this is true. Let me work on this. So
Yeah, I had a this was recent when I was pregnant. I heard that my mom said that she hoped I died when I go in labor. And I thought I was gonna die. I started believing it. I started like, oh my God, what if I die? Like, and I'm getting teary-eyed because I'm listening to y'all and I'm like, yeah, that's in the heat of the moment, people arguing and you like, you ain't gonna be shit when you grow up or you this or whatever. But to hear somebody say they hope you die when you about to go through a massive surgery or something where you could really die. Like I could die, you know. So in the midst of me getting pregnant, well, having my baby, I don't know, I'm crying. In the midst of me going in labor, like the last, you know how you go to your visits, like they start becoming like every week, you know. I stopped going, girl. I was like, because I don't want them to induce my labor. I want my baby to just come when it come. I stopped going, like my last 2 visits, my last 2 doctor's appointments, I didn't go. Because I was like, no, because what if they try to, I was scared to have my baby. Like I was literally scared to where I stayed home and didn't go in labor until I started feeling contractions on my own. I didn't even want the doctor to be like, okay, well we just gonna book you to come in on this day, or I didn't want them to say none of that. So I stopped. I didn't go to my last 2 appointments because I was literally nervous. In my head, I'm thinking like, do I like tell somebody where my life insurance? Like that's how deep I was thinking. Like, do I need to tell somebody where my life insurance is? Like, where my life insurance policies is? Who I trust to take care of my kids? Like, I'm thinking all of this. And in a sense, like, I felt that ain't even negative. That was evil. Like, for me to be pregnant and you say, I'm already scared to go in labor without nobody saying anything. And then for you to say that, my mind built up like as if that was going to happen. And then when I did go in labor, it seemed like I had the worst labor ever. I couldn't walk afterwards. I'm like, I almost died. Like, Jesus. Like, you know, like, I felt like what she said was really, like, hovering over me. And I think the part of that put me into postpartum depression. So, I'm still kind of getting it off of me. And I feel like, now I'm just trying to like, okay, it didn't happen. I didn't die. Now I'm about to show this bitch who it is. Like, that's how I feel. Like, that's how I'm feeling. Like, okay, boom. I'm here for a reason. You know, I'm trying to build up more positive thoughts versus like being mean and being resentful. Because it's easier to do that. It's easier to be like, for one, I already didn't like you. And I already was battling myself with you. But now I'm trying to do it differently. So I'm trying not to be as mean. I'm trying not to even take on, because some of her spirits might jump onto me just by me being mean to her, you know? So I don't know how to respond. I try not to, because I know the type of person I am. I immediately want to get aggressive and want to fight. So I try to respond to somebody. I just try to like show you the best way I can without saying anything to you. Like, show you I'm still here. I'm still living. I'm still breathing. When I walked up, I'm still, you know, I want you to see that whatever you spoke over me, ain't even it. You know what I'm saying? So I try not to say nothing. I just try to show up and show out at all times.
I was just thinking like the question responding versus reacting. That's something that like I just really started to understand. And I think for many years I react to things, and the difference between the two is reacting is like not putting no thought into what's coming out of your mouth or what you about to do. And when you respond, you actually take the time to process what just happened or what was just said. And so I would say that if ever there was things spoken over me personally, I never reacted unless it was someone really, really close to me. But I also don't remember being too hurt about it. I don't know if the things didn't affect me or if it wasn't as deep as some of the other things that we've heard. But I know that I'm one that also keeps stuff in. Like, I won't really let you know that you hurt me, if that makes sense. Like, I let it build up. And then when I get to the point where I do say something, I'm definitely reacting. So I'm asking God to help me still stay in a place of like processing it and then responding instead of reacting. Because I just think if you take it for what it is, because really you say things when you just upset. And I know I've said things to people that I really didn't mean in the moment. I may have felt it right then and there, but I shouldn't have said it right then and there. And so people too speak because it's something more personal for them. It's more self-inflicted than it is about you. And so I think I've learned that throughout, but I can't recall like anything being spoken over me that really stuck with me. I was bullied in school, but it wasn't like things that they said, it was just the way I was treated, if that makes sense. So that's why the question was like, is it something that someone spoke over you, or was it actually things that was done to you that caused you to respond, and then how did that, affect you? So it really made me put my guards up and really hold stuff in even more. So I think it's important to know the difference between reacting and responding, because as you get older, you just, you got to learn to process things, and you got to know people's stuff ain't your stuff. Like, whatever you feel about me is your business. Like, I'm not going to take that on, but as a younger girl, I think I took some stuff, but I can't like pinpoint.
I don't feel like I could pinpoint anything either, but one thing that stuck out to me is generational curses. And that's why this topic is so important, because your mind, when somebody speaks over you, that can dwell with you. As you heard, Mika, if she would have, when she heard what her mom said, if she would have expunged it, is that the word? I don't know if that's even the word. Throw it out. If she would, and who's to say that when she went into labor, who's to say, first of all, that she wouldn't have missed the last 2 appointments? That's one. But then the other thing is, when she got to the hospital, who's to say that all that stuff that happened would have happened if her mind, because it took over her mind. What somebody said to her took over her mind. So that's the reason why this topic is so important, because we have to realize that our mind is a terrible thing to waste. Really, it really is, because the simple fact is that when you allow somebody to come in and say something to you and you believe it, that's the thing, believe in it, because you can say something to me and I don't believe it. Right? And it won't do nothing to me. It's just it's gone. You know what I'm saying? But when somebody says something to you and you start believing it, that transforms your mind. So generational curses for my family is this. And I don't feel like nobody said this to me personally. It has been around me said that everybody, this is on my dad's side of the family, every son has been in jail, except one son of every single one of my dad's siblings have been in jail. I mean, long periods of time, right? Does that trickle down to their children? We don't know yet, but we're gonna cast that out. And the negative thing that has been said is that this is a generational curse. Now that we identify it, this is something that you gotta pray over. You know what I'm saying? Pray against that. The next generation does not face this, because that generation did do it. Do Do you get what I'm saying? So for me, it taps more into not something spoken over me personally, but that does go personally because it could fall on my sons. It won't fall on my sons because I'm praying over them.
Right.
But outside of that, because somebody can look at the Bryan family and like, he in jail, he in jail, he in jail, he in jail. They all some jailbirds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not to say I haven't heard. I'm saying it has been conversation like this is a generational curse that we want to break.
Right.
Not negative. I don't think that's negative. Like I think that's it. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
I get
the
it.
one part.
Yeah. And to cast it out because you gotta realize that your mind is important and what you believe is important because it makes you go a different way if you start believing what somebody said about you, about your family, and then it happens. And then you're like, well, if she wouldn't have said that, maybe it wouldn't happen. No, if you wouldn't have believed it, maybe it wouldn't happen. So that's my.
You better preach.
That was
I'm sorry.
That was deep.
No, that was good. That was really good.
For me, I don't think I really ever had like negative things spoken over me. Like I can relate to the generational curses. The only thing I would say that was negative that I used to get teased or bullied about when I was a kid was I was flat chested and I had no butt. That was the only thing. But my mom would always tell me like, you have like the worst attitude ever. And for me, it's like she didn't really know why I held that attitude because the attitude was only towards her. It wasn't toward anyone else. Like anyone else, I could be the most loving, kind, caring person. But my attitude towards her, she didn't like it. And I don't think she seen or realized why. And it was because the things that she did. Not that she did anything like over the top or nothing, but she was verbally abusive and she just did things that I didn't agree with or I didn't approve of. But it made me look at myself like, I don't want to be like this. Like, not that she knows she's a horrible person, but some of the choices and decisions that she has made, I'm like, oh, I'm not about to do that. And that, I would say that's kind of like a generational curse for me. And also our living arrangements as a kid to me as an adult, I would look at that as a generational curse because we stayed with my granny my whole life. I'm still staying with my granny and my mom is there too. So that is something that I absolutely want to break because it's like, I don't want to walk in those footsteps. Like, I want to be a part, like I want to have my own family. Like I want to have a husband, you know, with my kids and with me, not mama living with mama and then the granddaughter and the great-granddaughter. And it's like, that's something that I need to work on more for that to be broken. I would say that a positive thing was spoken over me, but to me, I feel like understanding it now, I don't want to say I look at it in a negative manner, but I always got called the good girl. She the good girl, you know, she don't do this, she don't do that, she don't do this, she don't do that. And right now it's like, I know I'm a good girl, but I think with that being spoken over me, it's like something that I had to live up to. Now, I'm in a mind frame or in a mind state to where it's like, I don't want to be the good girl no more. And now I'm suffering from it because I'm being so rebellious right now. And it's like, I wish I could have, you know, understood that as a kid or when I was spoken over me. Because like, now I feel like this is negative to me right now only because of the mind state that I'm in. Like, I'm lashing out. You know, I'm not the person that I'm usually, you know, am. And it's not a good feeling. It's like, dang, like, I don't want people to look at me and be like, dang, she failed. Like, she was this good girl and she was doing this, she was doing that, but now she out here doing this and doing that. So it's like...
Can I ask you a question? Like, okay, for instance, me and my family was talking, and one of my cousins is kind of like, we looking at it as if lashing out, right? So I'm asking her, I'm like, but what if this who she really always wanted to be, but was pleasing people to hold up to a name that they spoke over?
Right.
Or we see, like, everybody like, she really, like, you really can't be who you really want to be because everybody was calling you the good girl. So you really wasn't your true self because you was trying to please the people that was around you and hold up to the good girl name when really you wasn't yourself. So at the end of the day, I feel like it's not that you're a bad girl. You're just finding your true self and finding what you really like and not holding on to what people was calling you. So that's what I was saying to them. I'm like, well, what if this really who she is?
Right.
You know, like what if this breakthrough that you're going through, and I'm not going to even call it rebelling because you don't even know if you really was a good girl. You just was holding up the name that people was giving you.
Right.
No, not saying like don't like that. Not saying like you was supposed to be whatever, but you're basing your life on what people put on you. You basing your life like, no, I can't do that because they think I'm the good girl, or I can't dance because I'm supposed to be the good girl, or I can't go over there because I'm supposed to be the good girl. You really want to go. You really want to dance. You really want to have a good time, but people are speaking these things over you, and now you starting to live it when it's really not even you. So to me, I feel like when people start doing things outside of what they normally do, whether you could be, and guess what, it's people 40 and 50 years old starting to do what they really wanted to do when they was 21.
Right.
Because they was living up to being married to a man or living up to the mama or whatever. So at the end of the day, I feel like you're not really too much rebelling. You might just be finding yourself. You might just be going through a stage in life to where you tired of pleasing people and living up to a name that somebody put on you and over you when that really, I'm not really that good. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I'm a good person. I have a good heart. But I do things.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I like to do things. And it's okay for me to do things. So I'm not going to say that I would look at you as rebelling. You probably looking at it as rebelling because you're holding on to what somebody always called you. They always called you that.
I wouldn't say that. I would say as in my adult life. Like, not as a kid, like, I was a good girl. Like, I ain't do nothing.
Because you didn't want to do nothing?
I wouldn't do nothing. Like, I stayed to myself. But becoming an adult and dibbing and dabbing and, you know, doing adult things, like...
You're no, that's life, though.
Right.
You're serious. Life. Like,
Take me to the king.
What would you say, girl?
Just doing, you know, adult things. Stuff that I didn't do, like, in my teenage years.
you wasn't supposed to.
And I'm asking God, like, why are you allowing me to go through this now? Because it's like, I promise you, like, I'm so much in and it doesn't make it any better now that I'm in tune spiritually. I wasn't really in tune spiritually as a kid, but as an adult, it's like a battle. Because it's like, okay, am I going to be in the world or not? Or not in the world? Like, that is a battle. Like, and it's not a good battle to have. Like, it's mental and spiritual. So it's like angel devil, like, just fighting in my head.
So do you want to go through it at 50?
No, I'm just God.
You don't have to go through it. I mean, I think I went through that.
I feel like everybody's gonna go through it. And I feel like we go through it at different stages in our life. Multiple times. Like, I be talking to people and they be 50 and I be like, she going through what I went through at 27.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And I be thanking God, like, thank you for taking me through that at 27.
So I'm waiting to get this, like, cause I'm ready to be out of this thing. Like, it is not a good feeling.
You want to go back to being a good girl?
What you want to?
Not even just being
Wait, get off her.
So my thing is this. I want to ask you this. Are you not enjoying the process? Or are you?
That's the part.
She's probably enjoying it too.
She's convicted.
Yeah, that's what
the part.
it is.
It's the conviction that'll make you feel like this ain't where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's her dealing. But I feel like what Mika said could be right. Like, you might be finding yourself. You might have to Like, I feel like nothing is happening on purpose. Everything's happening on purpose with purpose. So that means that everything that you're going through is supposed to happen
Right.
at this stage right now. And it's like, and I don't want to say enjoy it, because you enjoying it in the flesh.
Right.
But your spirit is whooping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, do I want to go with my spirit or do I want to go with my flesh?
Right.
And that's the question you got to ask yourself every single day that you get up, whether you're finding yourself or not. Do I want to be in the spirit or do I want to be in the flesh? And what we got to understand is that the spirit comes before the flesh. And you know this out of all people. But at the same time, God, thank you for letting me go through this.
Right.
Because it's a testimony in it. And that's it. Go through it this is how I feel. I feel like do it until you feel the conviction is too strong. Like, God, I know I ain't supposed to be doing this. And then you stop. Is it that easy? It may not be for you, but I'm just saying, he might need to whoop you a little bit more until you get your act together.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, another thing by her being like a teenager, a good girl, the things that she's probably doing, I'm probably like, girl, shut up. You get what I'm saying? I'm probably like, what?
Everybody process that.
Different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's like,
I tell you, for real, just
yeah, like, come on.
Jasmine.
But to me, it's like it's convicting me.
Right.
But wait, is it convicting you because of the stigma? Is it the stigma?
Yeah.
That's
But they put over you, or is it the conviction?
It's spiritual. Like that, my spirit is convicted. It's so unease. Like it is definitely convicted, and I feel I'm. I haven't thanked him yet because I don't like this. But I'm asking him, why is he allowing me to go through it? But like with that, there are follow-up thoughts. Like, okay, he's allowing for me to go through this for a reason. It's people that can possibly, because there's a lot of people that's telling me like, you're not yourself right now, Jazz. Like, what's going on?
Right.
And it's like I'm myself, but they can tell like something else is off. It's not something not right. Like, what's going on with you? And I haven't really been open about it. Like I've been masking it and I've been keeping it to myself or sharing it with few people, so it's like I know eventually I would have to share it because it's like I know that people are looking at me, and it's like through whenever God saying like, okay, it's done, I know that he will get the glory. So it's like those onlookers or whatever, it's like, well, dang, she was going through this, she was going through that, but now, God brought her through whatever, and now it's a testimony. So I'm just waiting to share the testimony. I'm enjoying it. Convictingly enjoying it.
But on the outside, you're not showing that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because you're not showing that you're enjoying it.
It looks like it's a burden.
It's a battle. Like
it's flesh. That's why it's the flesh.
Battle.
But the flesh usually looks like it's
No, but I'm saying her spirit is uneasy because
So
she's driving off of her flesh. It seems like than
Because
she
I've
is
been
her
feeding my
spirit.
flesh legit. Flesh.
I can totally relate. I'm sorry, but for me, I'm like, in order to heal the wound, you gotta expose it. So like, you keep saying like, okay, you holding it in. Why are you holding it in though?
I don't know.
Like, you gotta remove the people who you think don't have something to say about it. Deal with
That's the
yourself by
problem.
yourself and let God do what he's supposed to do.
Right.
You gotta get to a point to where what they say, what they think don't matter. And it's so easy for people to deposit stuff in our spirit because we don't know who we are.
Right.
And then until you identify the aggressor and learn who you are, they're always gonna be able to speak over your life and direct you in direction that you shouldn't go.
That's true.
And I would say something similar for the last couple of months. We've talked though, and you go through things not just for yourself but for the next person.
Right.
So this is, to me, it's a testimony of even those on the front line, even those prayer warriors, even those people that are the good girl, or those people that have it all together, even they fall. Even their flesh starts talking to them, and sometimes we can't hear. And that is a testimony in itself, because a lot of people look at us and be like, oh no, they don't go through nothing, they don't have nothing. And then all of a sudden we start tripping and they like, oh my God, nothing. Got all together like, yeah, our flesh talk too.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
so this is just a testimony of that. So when you finally come out on the other side, you'll be able to say, okay, now I know where some areas, and God is showing me some areas where I was weak, where I really thought I was strong, or where I really thought I could really choose up and choose God, but I'm not.
Right. And then
So don't beat yourself up. Yeah.
Like you said, about the person that we could be a testimony.
So don't beat yourself up, because all of it is a process, and God is leading you through it all. He ain't left you.
Right. And we grow through it.
That's just like David. Like he said, David was the best of them all, because David. Yeah,
I always say, like, embrace your detours.
Yeah.
Like, like when you get off the freeway and they like making you hit corners and all that, you might find a restaurant like, oh, I didn't know that was there.
Right.
You know, it's gonna be like, dang, I'm driving long, but you gotta embrace it. And I'm not saying like grab on to everything, cause as humans, we gonna pick up things that's not for, like, make us uneasy, to where you be like, that ain't me.
Right.
I'm not doing it. I don't want to. You did it, but you know you don't want to do it again, right? So when I say embrace the detours, it's like you gon' get off the freeway. You have to. But when you get off the freeway, you picking up things that's gonna make you better for your higher self. So it's things that you might see that ain't gonna be for you, but it's gonna be things that you see that's gonna stick to you and make you better as a person.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, I feel like you should embrace it, and you should pick up all the things that is for you and knock away all the things that are not for you. Because at the end of the day, you finding yourself.
And you already coming out of it, because you already didn't express that you're not fully comfortable. It would be different if you was deaf, mute, and not.
You're going to come out of it because
you already see, I'm coming out of it.
You're conscious. You're going to for sure come out of it.
That's one thing that I'm enjoying too much, and I'm just distraction, but
distraction. There is a man. There is a way that seems right to a man. That leads straight to distraction.
Okay, so I would like to say to everyone that's watching this that even if someone speaks something negative over your life, you don't have to own it. You don't have to take ownership of it. Allow it to just. There's three things that I think my pastors told me to do with information. Like if someone says something to you or about you, one, you accept it because it may have some truth about it, and so that gives you a chance to identify where it fits. Or two, you could just absolutely just sit it on the shelf and say, I'll revisit that because I don't see it right now. And three is just throw it out. So I think as you think about the things that have been spoken over your life, if they're just from an evil place, throw them things out. But if it's something that could possibly be true, such as generational curses or anything like that, I think that it's very important to take note of it and to see where it fits, because if you don't, it's still there, it lingers. And if you don't deal with it or go head first with it, then it's just going to trickle down into your entire life, and that becomes a dangerous thing.
Trey kind of just said everything. He took the words out of my mouth. But I would say reflect, do a lot of reflecting, get to know yourself, maybe pick out the things that have been said about you. Like Trey said, if it was negative or evil, throw it out. If you feel like, it's something that could be valid, look at it, reflect, look at yourself. And I would say that would be identifying it, right? Identify what it is. And pray about it, ask for help or let someone else know, expose what it is, so that way it won't just be you battling it by yourself, but you have other people that support, and help you with it and go through it. And trust the process. That's a huge one, and that's something that I think I'm enjoying the process more than I'm trusting it right now. But trust it.
I would say really get in tune with yourself and find out who you are and what you want out of your life, because so many people will say or speak things over your life and they may be close to you, but you really have to identify with yourself, know what you want out of life, know what you want to be, and just see something different for your future. And also understand when people say stuff that's hurtful, they're hurting themselves. And a lot of times we say things out of a hurt place, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you more than it has to do with that person. So just the number one thing, be confident and know yourself. It may take a detour for you to get to know yourself, but don't be afraid to go down that road. Even if you fall, get some scrapes along the way, just get back up and be like, all right, I see that pothole, I'm gonna learn how to curb it now.
Right.
And then just keep it pushing and grow.
That was good.
That's good.
I say, my encouraging word is this. You got to know that whatever somebody said negatively over you, you do not have to let it resonate. You do not have to begin to believe it. If you know that it's something that does not apply to your life, like trying to say, throw it out. Like, your mind is so important. Like, don't give somebody the authority to come in and brainwash you into thinking what they believe about you. And that's it. Like, that's important, because if you do, then you'll start living like they want you to live in a negative space. And that's crazy. So that's my lesson.
Yeah, that was good. I'm gonna touch on the mind as well, because when somebody spoke over me negatively, it was a mind thing. It wasn't more so, oh, I know I ain't gonna, or I know. It's like, what if that really happens? Like, so for me, I'm gonna speak on the mind. And like Bridget said, the mind is where it all starts. That's where it all starts. Like, when somebody says something about you, even when you know it's not true, we still think of it. Like, wait a minute, So when things are said about you and it comes to your mind, be so mind strong, be so, have your mindset right. Like, your mindset has to be right. Your faith has to be on 1,000. My faith was not on 1,000. If my faith was stronger when I was pregnant, I probably would have been like, girl, my faith was low for that to penetrate me. My faith wasn't up to par. So I feel like if my faith and my mind was on 1,000, it wouldn't have penetrated. But since it wasn't, it got to me. So make sure your mind is right. And your mind not gonna always be right. And when your mind not right, sometimes those be the times when people get to throwing those negative things to you or whatever. So at the end of the day, it's like, when you hear those things, just try to reflect and be like, get your mind right. Even if it's a self-reminder, like, no, get your mind right. Let me get a little bit more faith. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's a mind thing. It's a faith thing. If your faith is strong, you know for sure what they speaking ain't it. So that's what I'm saying.
And for me, a scripture keep coming in my mind. It says, it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out. So it's not what people throw at you. It's not what people say to you. People can shout whatever to you. But it's what you thinking about yourself and what comes out of your mouth. So when people say whatever to you, you have to get it in your mind, like, I'm not going to think about it. It's lots of things that people say to you, and immediately it starts swimming around your head, like, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am. So when that reel starts going in your head, you say, this is what I'm not, this is what I'm not. And start telling yourself who you are. Know who you are and repeat it to yourself. Because that's what's going to defile you. That's what's going to make your life turn into chaos. Believing and thinking on what they said, but think on what you already know.
That's good. I would definitely say you got to be able to identify your offenders, because if you know who they are and where they're coming from, you'll know how to deal with them accordingly. You pick and choose what you give your energy to. Everything what they say, every reaction, don't need a response. So some things you can process it, you can think about it, but then after it is what it is, like they said, dispose it, get rid of it. Don't let it sink. Don't let it wither. Don't let it wave. Don't wobble in it. Take it for what it is and keep it pushing. Because whether you're doing good or bad, somebody's always going to be on the sideline spectating. Half of the time, they ain't even got nothing going on.
Facts.
So the fact that you're thriving, the fact that you're progressing, the fact that you're living your best life, they're going to try to target you and take everything away from you. But you got that power. They don't. So if you surrender, you give it to them, then that's the territory you got to deal with.
Facts.
This